Oh, baby. Man, I got a nice little rest day yesterday. That didn't happen very often.
Dang, dude.
Sunday is the day of
I
rest.
did yard work.
Did you grind tape?
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the DNVR Nuggets podcast. Let's go! Presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use the code DNVR365 when you sign up. Choose your offer and find out why. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. We're also in the Toyota Lounge, driven by your Front Range Toyota stores. Toyota, the official vehicle of DNVR. I like that. I think we should incorporate it every single time. We have a great show for you, man, because we had an off day, a chance to digest.
Yeah.
A chance to digest. We had practice. We have a lot, and I'm telling you, this series is incredible. It's great on the first watch. It's really great on the second one, and I can't wait to go over all those details with you. And also, we got Brendan Vogt back.
What's up, guys? Very, very happy to be back. Feels like I haven't been on the show in ages, and I miss it. I miss chopping it up with you guys. Thankfully, I left or returned on a high note, so this should be a fun show.
Unless you ask Christian Brown, he says that they had the high note because of their comeback. We'll talk about that. Over here, D-Line Co.
You haven't been on the show?
You've been here. You've been here, right?
Didn't notice,
No,
huh?
he was here. He was here.
Didn't we have you were with me, right?
Yeah. I was
You
sitting
gave out
right
the
over
bets?
there. Yeah. That was
All right.
good.
Man, I can't believe you would forget Dev like that. And then rounding out the show, Harrison Wind.
Man, this series feels like it's taken forever. Like, doesn't it feel like we've been in this series for a month?
Yes.
But
It
it's
is
also kind of just getting started in a way.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
That was so poetic. That was poetic framing. You're right. It has been taking a while, but also just started. We have a new shirt. Oh, I shouldn't have done it when Kale just stood up. Hold on.
And
Kale's-
it's an absolute
Kale had to
banger.
stood up.
It is
Hold
an
on. He's going back.
absolute
We have a
banger.
new shirt.
You
We
set
got a
him
new
up for
shirt out here,
failure,
guys.
dude.
The finale. Oop. There it is. Look
I
at this
love
beautiful
this
thing.
one.
Finale oop. It is forever immortalized. It was always a thing, but now it's the thing.
Yeah.
Everyone will know whatever you're talking about this moment as the finale oop. There it is.
There it is. Also, if you guys want this shirt and also to make money, all you got to be is a ball knower.
We don't make money.
You make money in that you get credits to the store.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what happens is you just go online right now with our ball knower bonus, and you tell us how many games will the Nuggets Clippers series go. There's only two options:
50% chance.
Yes.
6 or 7 games.
Yeah.
And when you purchase it, if you are right, if you know ball, you will get a bonus of whatever value you spent. So if you bought 1,000 shirts, you will get 1,000 shirts worth of ball knower bonus.
Yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot of that. There's a limit. I don't know what it is.
Oh, okay. It's probably not 1,000 shirts.
But anyway, so if you want to do it, you go to there'll be a link in the show description that you click first, and then you make your pick, then go to the store. That's how it works.
Yeah. All right. I want to start not with Hangover Takes as we usually will do here. I instead want to go to practice notes because I think some of the stuff I saw from the media availability today kind of textures the Hangover Takes. So we'll do it in this order and vote. You were there. What did you notice?
Sure, just a little housekeeping first and foremost. That was a very light practice the fellas went through today. David Adelman said probably more like a walkthrough. And so much so that even the questionable guys, all three of them, I don't know if Aaron Gordon's questionable, but we know Aaron's dealing with an injury. Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr., and Russell Westbrook, they all participated in this walkthrough today. Not necessarily a confirmation of anyone's status. I think Russell Westbrook is the biggest question mark, fellas. At this point, I would expect Mike to play unless something drastic changes. All the same, light practice, more of a walkthrough, and everyone participated.
Can you imagine if they ran him today? After that
Well, I feel like it's probably a smart idea for the 5 starters not to do much at practice.
They may have played a lot in that last
Those
game.
other guys, they could get their work in
Zeke
now.
Naji was ready.
That's something we're going to get to in practice notes. Let's start, though, where the game ended, which was almost a really, really bitter, sour ending that ended up turning into the most joyous possible ending that could, ! A 20-point collapse. Let's talk about that collapse. Jamal Murray said, we got conservative. We relaxed. In these games, you have to play aggressive all the way through, miss or make.
I think this is true. They did get conservative. They played prevent offense.
They did, man. It was so frustrating to watch, too.
That was David Adelman's big point. A little prevent offense. He said, "Yeah, we stared at it. The zone. It was like we were sitting in a park. I didn't understand it." He took ownership of that as the coach, but he said to this point, guys, quote, "We were watching the clock run instead of playing basketball," end quote. So yeah, the time's not going to run out. He said it's an NBA game. There's a lot of possessions. Like we got to play. We got to get into our stuff and be more aggressive. CB added on to this topic. He said we didn't play the way we were supposed to play. We are getting more organized as the series goes on, but with the zone, we kind of looked at it. That was kind of what they wanted us to do. Just stare at it, cause a little hesitation, and break up the rhythm they were in.
Staring at it, to me, is not a phrase that like everybody was. They said it, so it's like you could tell that was an internal messaging of like, hey, we just stared at it. I think here's one thing I have about the series though, and I'll just drop this. We're gonna pick it up later. There, with every adjustment, it's like you add a layer of complexity. And this is why the deeper you go into series, it's like they shorten rotations. It's because it's hard to throw people in to something new. Every time you there's some new thing, then we have to talk about it. Now we know how to attack it. But a team might go back to that first thing they did, so you also have to know that. And you keep stacking layers. And I think that's kind of what they're getting at is, hey, they threw a curveball at us. We'll talk about that curveball in a second. And we stared at it in part to waste time, but in part because it was a little new in some other ways. But when we talk about Denver needing to maybe add to the rotation, expand it, it shows you that this is tough because there's layers of complexity that these players have lived through. And to throw someone new into the equation is like, oh, you're 3 weeks behind on this math class, but here's the test.
Yeah, you rarely see people get thrown in later in the series to the rotation.
Right.
Usually you start with 8, maybe 9, and then that gets whittled down to 6.
Right.
At game 5, 6, and 7. And like mainly because the margin for error is so much thinner.
Yep.
You make a mistake, you're done. You just don't have that leash that you do early in a series.
Yeah.
David actually touched on that, and he said that some of the challenge of drawing up a playoff rotation is the reality is your starters should be on the floor as much as possible. That's just the way it should be. He actually drew up an example, guys. He said, I see JJ Redick getting killed for playing all those guys. He says, but if they don't reverse that call and they win that game, did JJ Redick make the right call? He said, what I saw yesterday was the Lakers go up because of what he did and the decision he made. And so, yeah, you can't worry about what they're going to say afterwards.
So the Knicks, the Lakers, and the Nuggets all did this. They all rode their starters huge minutes.
Nobody has a bench anymore.
And got nothing. Well, some teams do, like the Thunder, and they win by 20.
Yeah,
the
Thunder
Celtics,
might be the
like there are a few teams.
and
But
Celtics.
here's the thing. I love him saying this, but the Lakers and Nuggets are actually in opposite directions on this, right? The Lakers, were the Lakers the up going into the fourth? Now I'm trying to think of this.
The Lakers were up.
Yeah, the Lakers were up, and then ended up
The
giving
Lakers
up
got
a
up
little
by
bit of
like 11 or 12.
Yeah. And the Knicks, on the other hand, were the team that had to storm back with theirs. So sometimes it's like, yes, you storm back because you keep your rotation short. You hold on to a lead. It's just hard to know, man. It's the playoffs, and things are going to happen. And it's all about just surviving.
I know.
Doesn't have to be pretty. Just
I don't think there's
survive
any rules you have to live by.
No.
It's just based off feel. It's based off the tone of the game.
Vibes.
Yeah, and he did consider, he's reflecting. He talked about maybe I could have brought Murray in at a different time. He's not that he's being stubborn in this necessarily.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It was about 2 subs. His thing wasn't that he played his guys a lot of minutes. It's that he knew the risk was if they start to come back, then you don't have all you're bringing back is Jamal. You're not giving a huge boost. You're just bringing one player. And he's like, I probably should have made it 2.
Right.
So that if, they're coming back. Now I'm bringing in 2 new guys for new energy. And so expect that. Don't expect a crazy 10-man rotation, but he might bench 2 starters to start the fourth instead of 1.
All the same, it resets now, fellas, which is something that David Adelman has said all series long. You do look for trends, but each game is different. And today he said, quote, it's a reset now. The next game will be completely different than the first 4. We have to look at this as a 3-game series. Tomorrow is its own thing, win or lose, and nothing past that matters.
Yeah. To me, this is the number one thing. Adelman, I actually have really enjoyed Adelman because I find him to be illuminating with no frills. It's just like he kind of tells you what's important. So for a person like me who's trying to craft narrative and really try to digest what's going on, he gives you it.
Yeah.
He doesn't doll it up or write your story for you, but he's this. And the thing he keeps saying is, there is no continuation one game to the next or no meaningful. Every game is just its own thing. There's a start, a stop, And then the next game starts it all over again. Like it's a whole new thing. And so this idea of carryover, there's strategic carryover, but the teams are ready for those. But every game has its own personality, and it's not. This is why it's so frustrating to hear people be like, "The Clippers have had all the momentum." And you're like, "No, they
stop listening to the pods.
They lost two.
The pods have infected you.
They've won two and they've lost two, and there's no care. The next game is going to be its own story."
That's what Jamal was saying, man. Jamal was like, "Look, this back and forth, this back and forth that you guys do." And to be honest, I think maybe coaches have a more adjacent perspective to ours than players. He said players don't have that luxury. He's like, what is the series now? It's just the next game.
Totally.
And if we win the next game, then we're up 3-2. If we lose it, then we're down 3-2. But it's not like, he's like, you lose it. Actually, I'll give you the exact quote. He said, quote, you lose a game, you're like, damn, well, we got to win the next game. You win a game, and you're like, damn, we got to win the next game.
Right.
That process never really stops. So, obviously as podcasters, this is what we're going to do after every game. But as a player, it's a bit more of just the next game is a new contest. One example I noticed, guys, like they dared Chris Dunn to shoot a lot in both games. And Chris Dunn hit some big time shots in that big game where the fans were going crazy and they blew him out. And that did not carry over into game 4 when they left him open again and he didn't hit those shots. So each game kind of takes on its own thing.
You guys are all good with this.
Well, I think it's funny. It's funny to hear about the different worlds that sports live in. Like, of course, they don't care about our little narratives that we're like all. He's like, I was trying to win, but I was thinking about how does it affect LeBron's legacy?
You know what I will say, though, in general terms? I do get the sense, just because he's in this spot for the first time, I think David Adelman is aware of what people have said on a game-to-game basis.
Very aware.
He talked about it a couple times today, and he said he's like, we heard a lot that, like, maybe those 3 games wouldn't go the way we wanted to at the end of the season. They did.
Yeah, I love that
and
line.
And then we went up 2-1, and people were like, "Well, how would it go when things maybe break down?"
I love it.
And then game.
Well, even when he, the whole thing happened during like his first couple games with not closing with MPJ, not closing with Russ.
Right.
Immediately he's like, and a lot of people said I don't play Russ.
Great take.
It's like Nuggets stan Jokic 32 said that on Twitter.
Right. No, he does. It kind of seems like and then game 3, everyone said there it is. It's the collapse. It wasn't. So it does seem like he's aware of it.
But I do love this mentality of like it just every game is its literal own personality. I will say this in the playoffs. Teams make adjustments that other teams can't counter, and that's usually when a series, more often than not, that's how a series ends. Is it's like once they did this thing, Denver or whoever couldn't respond. But in a close series, that's not the case. It's like you just keep stacking complexity on top of itself, and now it's like they're going to throw these 10 things at us. We're going to throw these 10 things at them. We both know how to answer them. And now it's just who executes and answers those questions better. And I think this series is that one, not the one where it's like, one team found something. Both teams know how to respond to the adjustments. And now it's like everyone has to read them and execute. And by the way, they're good at this too. Denver's really good at it. They're good at it too. And that's why the series rules.
Yeah. I mean, it's true. Like, but you tell me if that Denver's going to be involved in a thinking man's basketball series, and we have Nikola Jokic on our squad. Like
that helps. It's a
I'm
nice
feeling,
spot to
I'm feeling good. Yeah, I think that'll work.
But David Adelman said, they have Ty Lue, who's a great coach and a veteran team
and Harden, who I think is, we can all dog on him.
I agree.
He's also good at this stuff.
And everyone's stacking up all these adjustment. Well, we think we figured out their adjustment. Well, guess what? Both teams are expecting the other team to adjust again the next game. So it all starts over, I think.
Yeah, it's so great. Man, I tell you what it really is, the playoffs. They are a war of attrition in a lot of ways. And there's always one of my favorite lines in Deadwood when the printing press guy gets his press destroyed and everything's bad, and the main character walks in and like slaps him. And he's like, "Are you dead? The world ends when you're dead. Till then, there's more pain in store." And it's like, that's really the lesson of the playoffs of like 2-2. Guess what?
Dark.
This next game's going to suck too. Well, they kind of talked about it too.
You're like, the biggest lesson of the playoffs is your parents will die someday.
But there is this thing of like, how's the next game going to go? Like, is it easier? Does it get easier? Now, it's like, no, it gets harder. It's going to test us in the exact way this last one did, where we're going to be dog tired. Our brains are going to be tired. We're going to be frustrated. There's going to be fight, all this. And then whoever can focus through that is going to have the upper hand. And it's like, and then what happens after that one? To Murray's point, he's like, if we win, We have to do it again.
We have to do it again.
It's like, yes, and you have to keep doing this.
We 100% deserve a series like this after this regular season.
Just consider
there was no way we were going to have an easy series. Come on.
Consider this. We are this beaten down and beleaguered, and we have 2 alarm clocks
I know
that have been
Can
made
you imagine
visible
what
on
it's
this,
going to be
on
in
this-
like 2 weeks? If
No, dude,
still
we're gonna
in
be
this
like
thing?
different people and like not better people.
Do you imagine what we're going to look like in 2 weeks?
Absolutely horrible.
The word haggard comes to mind.
All right, I love that. Let's take a break. On the other side, time for some hangover takes, including a deeper breakdown now of what happened in Game 4 that's meaningful going into Game 5.
It's a best-of-3 game series now. You know what's nice is the Nuggets have that home court advantage. Home floor advantage can be a nice thing to have, fellas. And with Empire Today, you can have it in your own home. Empire Today is flooring experts, dedicated flooring professionals who focus on flooring every single day. And the real thing with Empire Today that I like to sell you on is that this stuff can be insanely overwhelming. If you go to one of the big warehouses, there are so many options trying to figure out what they're going to look like, not just sort of in your house, but in your home with your furniture, your aesthetic, your style. It's a really hard thing to do. And Empire's philosophy is to help you find what you need, not overwhelm you. And the virtual floor designer is a great way to see how it will look in your house without any costly commitment. So do yourself a favor. Schedule a free in-home estimate today. All listeners can receive $350 off when they use promo code DNVR. Restrictions apply. See empiretoday.com/DNVR for details.
Also, shout out to Game Time. If you need tickets for concert shows, sporting events, Game Time is really the only app to use. Easiest app to use, clearest on your phone, super easy and simple. Their algorithm is so good. You open up the Game Time app, it instantly just shows you the best value tickets immediately. So it does the work for you. The Game Time app, the prices will actually go down the closer it gets the tip off. Killer last minute deals, all in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee. So if you need tickets to, I don't know, Nuggets Game 5 tomorrow here in Denver, you need tickets to Game 6 in LA, if there's a Game 7 here in Denver, use the Game Time app and use our code DNVR. Get $20 off your first purchase. You can take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account. Use code DNVR for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply, but create an account, redeem code DNVR for $20 off. All-in pricing, zone deals, lowest price guarantee. Also, Game Time ticket coverage. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Download the Game Time app today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guarantee.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Segment 2 of DNVR Nuggets podcast. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss an episode. Make sure you hit the like button so you help us out. Let's talk about the build-up now. Hangover Takes, Kale. Let's head to the Hangover and talk about the first 3 quarters. And really, that third quarter, that was the build-up. I think one of the first things I have on my notes, and this is for you, Wind, one of the first big adjustments between games 3 and 4 was that they started getting into the ball handlers, namely James Harden, but also Kawhi Leonard. It was namely Aaron Gordon and Christian Brown, respectively, that were doing this. And not just getting into them, but attacking the dribble. What I mean is you can play defense by trying to shadow your guy, like I'm just going to keep you in front, or you could play it by constantly going for the ball so they don't get a rhythm, and you're a little out of position, but you're just they did that one, and I think it made a huge difference because those guys don't feel them when they just try to stay in front of them.
Yeah, and they really set the tone with that from the opening tip. I mean, we were all on the watch along, and it was obvious that like there was something different about the Nuggets' mentality on defense, and Aaron Gordon specifically. Like, he was up into Kawhi Leonard from the get-go, like, immediately. And you could tell the Clippers were like, oh, wait, that's different.
Yeah.
Like, that's not the same Nuggets defense that we've been playing against this series. And I just feel like that set the right tone. Yes, they also got off to a great start in Game 3, but it wasn't because of their defense.
Right.
Like, they got off to a good start in Game 4 because of their defense. It was not really their offense, even though their offense was decent. It was their defense and just the tone they set. And I agree, it was obvious. Like, they were up into Kawhi, up into Harden, and I thought it made the Clippers uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And a lot of the starters picked up 1 foul early in the game. I think they picked up 4 as a team. Which brings me back to Murray's quote after Game 3, which I thought was particularly insightful, which was, we have to, like, set the tone and dictate physically and not react. So we want to be physical on these guys, but then they call a foul and we kind of just stop. they're not going to call every single one.
Yeah.
Right? That's how OKC plays defense. That's how Minnesota plays defense,
Yes.
right? That's how the Clippers in this series have played defense. And I thought for the first time all series, Aaron and Christian were, I'm actually just going to stay here, and you got to foul me out. And I thought that changed the dynamic of the first 3 quarters.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Like the thing that was most stark to me between this last game and all of the others is just how physical they were on both sides of the ball. Immediately off jump, like off rip, they were just picking Kawhi up at half court. Same with James Harden, making them get the ball out of their hands, but then also just driving to the rack, just going straight physical with everything that they were doing. And I agree, it stunned the Clippers. They weren't ready for the Nuggets to play with that level of physicality because they haven't been, and it makes you ask, like, why haven't they been? But also makes you feel like, oh, dope, they can do that. Like, okay, cool, like, lock in here. Like, now it gives me, like, it makes me feel a lot of confidence for what's to come.
You are at the mercy of the officiating, and to your point, oftentimes when you're the aggressor, you set the tone. You inform the officials what is allowable contact. That is going to be different every game, but Denver pushed the envelope early and said, this is what's allowable, and the refs adjusted, and I thought very fairly. I don't think it was like unfairly physical.
They flipped it in the 4th, by the way, said Adelman. And Adelman said he appreciated it. He was like, they allowed us to play physically for 3 quarters. And when the Clippers did the same thing, the refs swallowed their whistles so that the tone was consistent, and we were able to sort of play within that.
Yeah, and it's a well understood fact that the playoffs are a more physical brand of basketball that is less foul driven. That's just the handshake agreement we all have to go through the regular season. It gets, littered with like terrible foul baiting. That's why, like, generally speaking, James Harden has not been able to succeed in the playoffs because his tactics that he relies on aren't rewarded as readily in the playoffs. So it's smart. You should assume. You should make the referees feel like they are going to break the unwritten contract by blowing the whistle a lot if you're just coming out and being physical, because you should be able to.
The second big thing that happened in this game that I think is the most important adjustment or whatever you want to call it, they go hand in hand. It's that the spacing was 1,000 times better than it was in the previous games.
Yeah.
And it was better, in my opinion, because they just played the starters. They played the starters together. And here's the thing. Russell Westbrook does not know fully how to play Nuggets basketball. And he's such a dynamic player that you kind of have to adjust who you are to fit him as much as he needs to adjust. But he doesn't know how. Not by anything wrong, but he doesn't know all the angles and timings and everything that. He's pretty good at it in terms of his relationship to Jokic, but not in his relationship to Christian Brown, for example, or Aaron Gordon. Peyton Watson doesn't. Julian Strawther doesn't. Zeke Naji doesn't. The starting 5 does. They've been doing this. So in this game, you go to that starting 5 more than ever, but the spacing was great in this one, and it allowed for a more aggressive yoke, and it allowed for just more opportunities for kickouts and different shots.
Strong agree. I thought a couple of things went into that. I think you're right about having the right 5 guys, because one thing we saw a few too many times was guys cutting, ducking in at the same time.
Yep.
And not just sort of. The other thing is, right off the bat, Mike took and made a really, really contested 3 on Kawhi Leonard, like right off the bat. And I felt like the Clippers we got to guard this guy tonight. And I thought that was part of it as well. Meaning the same way it's Aaron and Christian's responsibility to sort of time you're cutting right now, or I'm in the dunker spot and like, this is my territory. There's Mike has to be selfless in forget whatever your points are, be out there, be a threat, stretch the floor, and keep them honest. And so I thought everyone kind of did. It allowed Christian to actually cut to the rim and score the way he has all season long in the half court, because we know he's not going to hit a ton of pull-up jumpers. So you actually made a point I hadn't considered, though, which is, they played the starters the whole game. So I guess that makes that's a big factor.
Well, not having Westbrook out there was huge for spacing, too.
Yeah.
And specifically with Jokic on the court, too. Just like, you don't have to guard Westbrook. Yeah, he's hit some threes this series. They're still not going to guard him. That defender is just going to be pretty much guarding Jokic.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, just having that 5 out there, it's going to help the spacing for sure.
And it's funny because they've learned that they don't have to guard Chris Dunn the same way that Russell Westbrook has been left alone. They're like the same level of reliability.
Yeah, last thing here, timely threes from Michael Porter had a couple of really big ones. Jokic had some big ones.
Yeah.
Aaron Gordon. Like, Denver had the timely threes. And in ways that the Clippers and Batum in particular, but also Derek Jones Jr., some of those guys have had timely threes in the wins that they've had. The Nuggets had the timely ones in this one, and that matters. If we go to the collapse, though, all right, number one is the zone. They throw out a zone, and it was kind of brilliant for a couple reasons. You're in Hail Mary territory down 22. You're in Hail Mary. So you're not worried as much about offensive rebounds or any of this. You're like, can we just throw them off their game? And then what was especially brilliant to me is the Dunn strategy kind of cracked for them because they were like, they're just not guarding them and it's making life tough. Bogdanovich had been getting killed in this series when Denver was aggressive. They put him on the floor for an offense-only lineup. Like, okay, we got to score. We're down 22. And it happened at the exact moment where Denver said, well, we're going to stop being aggressive.
Right.
So if you have a weak link on your team, but the other team's not going to be aggressive, it mitigates it.
Yep.
And I'm very curious. I'm going to do the Michael Malone. It's going to be interesting to see if they play Bogdanovich a lot in Game 5. Because Denver, if they're aggressive, should be able to score easier than they have in the first 4 games of the series. It'll be tougher defensively. But that balance, I think it only worked because Denver stopped trying to score.
Quickly, I am so shook by how bad Bogdanovich is. Like, I was pining for that guy. He has been a nightmare.
He was incredible in the fourth quarter.
But to Adam's point, both of you are right, though, right?
Yeah.
Like, he literally couldn't buy a shot to save his life. And then this fourth quarter, he's a big part of it. The Nuggets won that game by 2, of course. Bogdanovich was a plus 22 in that game.
Was he really?
Now, again, also, Eric, he was 3 of 7.
He was there for the entire
But I'm telling you the reason it worked was that Denver was not attacking the weak link. They were just trying to run the clock out. Yeah. So that is a big one. And then just
just to calm your nerves, he would be a great Nugget.
He would be a great Nugget.
I realize I just made myself an enemy of all of our fans.
Well,
I love him.
In a playoffs, it would be Jokic, Murray, Bogdanovich on the court. Now you do start to wonder the same thing the Clippers are, which is like that's a lot of marks, and that's what the playoffs are all about. It's not whether he's good or bad. It's are you compromising the thing that's making us what we are right now?
Totally. I mean, it basically comes down to the Nuggets were not trying to win. They were trying just to hold on and not lose.
Yep. And then there's the question of just the substitution pattern. So now you wonder, are the Clippers really going to close without Dunn on the floor? Are they going to do that? He's won them some games. Same way Russ has won game 1 for Denver. Dunn won game 2 for them with some of the big steals he made. But now that Denver's changed their coverage, who blinks? Does Denver go to a deeper rotation in the fourth quarter? Do they go back to Bogdanovich? It's kind of fun because logically both coaches know that those strategies aren't going to work forever. Yeah. But they also know that they did work. And so it's kind of a fun game of like, man, we'll see what you try.
Yeah. That's why every game is so different, man. I mean, you don't quite know what's going to happen. I mean, if I had to guess, I'd guess the Nuggets play their starters most of the game.
Yes.
If I had to guess, I think the Clippers try to go back to Bogdanovich because it did work so well. Will they be able to stick with it? Probably not. But that's what's so great about the playoffs, man. Everything can just change at the drop of the hat.
Yeah. It's such a good series. And again, it's the first one. This is the first series.
Possibly the only.
What would be fun? Well, you shut your mouth.
I'm just saying.
You shut your mouth.
For one of these teams, it will be.
You're right. No, but just to your point, like it's already felt like we're a couple rounds into the playoffs.
Oh my God, dude.
We are 4 games in.
We've won 2 games of a required 16.
I just remember, the one thing I'll say about the Nuggets, because look, if somebody's asked me, do you believe in them? I wasn't at any point this year, and I don't believe in them as title contenders right now. My mind can be changed. Like they can show me something, but the one thing I'll tell you is when they played the Heat that year, I remember thinking it was great because the Nuggets kind of are the Heat of the West in that they really do just know how to win. Yep. They do. It's pretty when it's pretty, but when it's not, they still win ugly. And people didn't realize that through that whole run.
Totally.
And then they out-uglied the Heat in the finals to where everyone's like, oh, they're just more talented. It's like, no, they're just better at what the Heat are good at. And in this series, that's why I love everybody saying, like, the Clippers could have swept, really. And I go, I don't know, man. Nuggets are hard to kill. And the Clippers can't kill them.
And the Nuggets should very easily be up 3-1.
Both teams can do this. Both teams can do, and that's the fun part. There's actually 6 quarters in the middle where both teams blew the doors off of each other.
I know.
And outside of that, it's been a really even series.
I know. If you make any like declarative statement about one side or the other, you're just a flip flopper. We know you're going to change the next pod. Like pod
But
record.
I also kind of get it because the Nuggets feel like they have to spin 8 plates because their offense is movement and spacing and everything. And the Clippers need Harden to do 8 crossovers and sidestep to get a 3, so it looks easier. My point is just the Nuggets are zombies, man. They're really, really, really hard to kill, and that's one of their most redeeming qualities.
They've talked about this all week, and I have a really interesting quote from David Adelman. He goes, "This is who we are. We have been in these positions before. One thing I want the younger guys to know and learn is that this is who we are." I just thought that was an interesting
I
perspective.
love it, man. All right, let's take a break on the other side. Battlegrounds now for Game 5, including Russell Westbrook's return?
Oh, my
Question mark?
God.
Bet365 is now an official partner of the Denver Nuggets and the Colorado Avalanche. They play tonight, by the way, the Avs. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
What time?
Yes.
Like at 9 o'clock,
later
almost
tonight.
like 8:30.
I was going to hang out till then.
Yeah, no, it's going to be like one of those where you're like, what is the point of this? Isn't it for people to watch and enjoy? Everyone's asleep.
It starts at 7:30. It's not
I'll just
that
watch
late.
me, myself.
It's late in Dallas. Everyone was complaining about it.
7:30 start.
In Dallas, it's
Okay.
almost 9 o'clock.
We don't care about that.
I will just watch me, myself, and my Bet365. I like Bet365, the pioneers of live betting, where it's never ordinary, no matter the moment, because they have an early payout offer in the NBA. And here's an interesting example. Did you watch that last Nuggets game? They went up 20 points. You could have just won your bet and walked away
That's so
there.
true.
You would not have just like spread out.
I don't care about any other part of this.
We're somewhere between 0.1 and 0.0. They literally didn't have enough frames, guys, to show us the moment. But you would not have had to sweat that out if you had simply just used the early payout offer at Bet365. They have tons of fun offers, including some custom bets. New customers can now get $150 in bonus bets. When you bet $5, win or lose, sign up, use the code DNVR365, deposit $10, place a bet for $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet, wins or loses. Bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it is never ordinary. At Bet365, you have to be 21 or older and physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply.
Guys, cheers to 50 years of Miller Lite, the great tasting light beer for people who love beer. Since 1975, they've been doing it for 50 years, and Miller Lite is refreshing. It is the best light beer out there. Perfect for any occasion. I'm sure we'll be drinking some on the watch along tomorrow. Can't wait for that. Game 5. It's a dependable taste and the perfect light beer for beer lovers. It's got a clean finish, feels refreshing, it's easy to drink, and it's only 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces. A great beer that tastes like beer. Miller Lite always delivers a taste you can depend on. Miller Lite is brewed for taste with simple ingredients and just 96 calories and 3.2 grams of carbs. Go to MillerLite.com/DNVR to find delivery options near you, or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere that sells beer. It is Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.
All right, we are back now, segment 3. Make sure you hit the like button. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the show. Let's get into game 5, and I'm going to start here with you, Wind. Russell Westbrook, questionable for game 5. There didn't participate because there was nothing to participate in. It was mostly film study today, those types of things.
Well, he did participate.
Well, participated in the watching, but I'm saying he didn't sound like he ran up and down the court today. So first of all, I think it was good that Denver played without Russ in game 4. I just think it was because they went to the mattresses. But I don't think they can win the series without him. And I certainly don't think they can go very far if they do win this one without him. So is this the game to reintegrate him if he's good to go?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Because what they were doing last game, playing the starters pretty much the whole game, it's not sustainable. I don't even know if it's sustainable for this series, let alone the rest of the playoffs, if they're so lucky to advance. They need more real guys. We're down to 5 real guys. 6 real guys would be good. And I do think it's the right game to reintegrate Russ. I do think you need him to make a deep playoff run. You just need to get more guys in the mix. And what's going to be interesting is, can the Nuggets keep that spacing? Can they keep that same offensive flow that they had in game 4 with him in the lineup?
For me, it's you reintegrate him as soon as he's able to go.
I mean, I think you do, for sure.
Like, I don't think there's any other reason to hold him back, like, other than whether or not he's ready, because they basically won. They won the first game with him. You know, they got blown
Arguably
out.
because of him.
Yes.
Arguably because of him.
They absolutely.
Arguably.
He hit the biggest shot. Like, he was dope. He was actually...
And grab the rebounds.
I was just about to
defense,
say,
the low man defense,
he was
yep.
shades of Bruce Brown in the best way in that first game. So, yeah, I mean, like, give me a break. Like, fuck, can you imagine just 5 guys to go in for the rest of the playoffs?
Like you said, we've won 2 games.
But also specifically, I think
We
to
just need some more guys.
also specifically to take some of the burden off Jamal Murray, who's being hounded up the court, and also without Russell Westbrook, the only guy who can handle the ball on the floor. I mean, Jalen Pickett was out there a little bit, but even still, it was let's have the ball in Jamal's hands, right? So again, I mean, Murray played a poor game, and that's only one layer of it. But this is part of what the Nuggets and the Jamal Murray story in the playoffs has been. Like, it's exhausting for him to bring the ball up the floor against full court pressure all game long. Part of the reason why Russ is here is to get another ball handler to take that pressure off. So I do hope to see a lot of Westbrook in Game 5 for that reason. And maybe there's a little left in the tank for Murray to hit some of those big shots in the clutch.
I mean, I phrased it wrong, because of course if he's ready to go, he's going to go. It really is just about how much. Do you treat him like a 6th starter so that he's just playing a lot of minutes? And this is where I think no.
I agree.
It's possible, you know, obviously if he has it going well. But Adelman had a quote today, just kind of a line in one of the things he said today where he's like, I've got to play our 5 starters together as much as I can.
Yeah.
And I think that's how you look at this is, can you play those guys together? And then now you look at Pickett played like 4 minutes. Peyton Watson played like 11.
Flacco played 2.
Flacco played 2, and I think that was it.
there.
So
Yeah.
now you look at it and say, okay, Russ eats up some of those minutes,
Oh my God.
but he doesn't necessarily eat up the other minutes, like the starters' minutes. Maybe it's 1 or 2 from some of the other guys, but to me, that's it. Is Russ will likely, for the team to have the most success, have to be effective in fewer than starters' minutes. He's not going to get 30.
Yeah.
I think it might be 20. And it's like, that's okay. They need him for that.
That's perfect.
Yeah, they need him for that.
Yeah.
I don't, by the way, the chat's saying, but CB and Aaron and Jokic can all bring the ball up. I don't think a lot. I don't think enough. Like, I still think this is a burden that falls heavily on Jamal Murray. So
Well, but it's also just like once the ball gets in his hands, he has to be strong. Like, they just play like everyone just plays him super physical now.
and when I say, by the way, I mean, I'm talking about spelling Russell Westbrook. Like, I'm not talking
Totally.
about playing him instead of Christian or Mike. So
Right.
that I'm just saying it's
Jamal
just
needs
that there's
time off,
some
for
moments in
sure.
some games where there's another actual point guard on the floor.
When I talk about this getting more and more complex, this is where it's difficult for a guy like Peyton Watson, even Jalen Pickett, certainly anybody past those guys, Zeke Naji, Julian Strawther, is they're not. Think about the mistakes those guys made in the regular season, especially a guy like Julian Strawther. We're talking about defensive coverages, and he'd get beat a lot. The Nuggets are 8 layers deep in defensive adjustments that he would be thrown into. And that's why I just look at it and go, I think really we have Russ, you have Pickett, you have Peyton, DeAndre if he gives you a spell here or there. That's your bench. I would be shocked if anybody else got a spell. Not because, Denver needs shots, so give Strawther a chance. Strawther, I don't think, is ready for the layers of complexity that are in this series already.
He's also not a good shooter.
Well,
He just hasn't proven to be a good enough shooter to play in this spot.
I do think he has a little bit of like dog. I mean, did he win the national championship with Gonzaga? I can't remember.
I don't think so.
Have they ever won the national championship? I don't think so. I feel like
I'm
he
not
was
a
in.
college guy.
I believe he was in a high leverage game where he performed. Is all I'm trying to say. I think he has that in him a little bit, but when he comes in, it's just so jarring currently with that where the Nuggets are now, like how like rugged and battle tested they are. And he comes in like, "Hey guys, you want me to take a floater?"
You ever have though like a really deep conversation with somebody and you've like you're like an hour into it, you've already unpacked all the layers, then someone walks in new and they're like, "What are you guys talking about?" And then you're almost like, "Oh God, we have to go back to step 1. We're already through this. We'll give you mention that. Yes, we mentioned that already. We're already 8." That's what this series is. Where like Strawther walks in and it's like, no. On the left side pick and rolls, when Yoke drops, you have to tag this, but on the second
He's
side,
like, I thought I was open on that last play.
like, no, the cut comes after he
Yeah,
turns his hips.
yeah.
And you're, what are you doing? The playoffs are it's just layered, man. It's just so layered and everybody's locked in. The last one is physicality versus fouling. Denver has to find a way to be just as physical, but we just talked about 5 real guys. It's such a razor's edge, man. It's such a razor's edge that CB and AG have to be just as physical as they were in game one, and not as any more physical to pick up fouls.
No, but I think like make the refs do it. Make the refs at home give you 3 early fouls. I mean, don't hit people with a crossbar. I'm just saying, play physical, get into them, and if you'll find out pretty quickly, I think, if you're allowed to or not. And if you're allowed to, then do it. And if not, make this crew give you 3 early fouls at home in Denver in a pivotal game 5. Because I think that's the biggest things that both individual and team defenders who have that reputation have, is they leverage their reputation. They're like, yeah, that's right. You know me as a physical defender. So this isn't a foul. It's physical defense. And I think it's really easy to be a guy like Mike who never does that. So then the one time you contest and you put a finger on a forearm, it's a foul now. But if you've spent all game doing this. So anyway, I just hope they take the same approach.
And when there was a really fun conversation, or I thought it was fun, over the weekend I saw on the old Twitter timeline. And that is...
Love that.
No, I thought it was this. I'm being serious.
It's going to be deep in the pods and the timeline.
Basketball traditionally has been thought of as the best player in the series usually wins. This is a sport where it is determined more by the best player than the worst. I think the new NBA might not fully be that. It might be as defined by your weak link as it is by your strong one, or at least more so than historically has been the case. And I think that's why this 5 guys thing is so important, is because once you go below that, it's like, the other team knows what to do now because the mark's on the floor, offense or defense, whatever it is.
Yeah, and also just teams are so smart now. And offenses are so smart, man. They diagnose the weakest link. They come up with a game plan to attack your weaknesses automatically. Like, it's really impressive how smart teams and the best players in these series are. So I agree. I mean, the Nuggets winning a championship this season or making a deep playoff run, I think we know by now, after 4 playoff games, it's probably going to be because of those 5 guys.
Yeah.
The starting lineup: Jamal Murray, Christian Brown, Michael Porter, Aaron Gordon, Nikola Jokic. How good the Nuggets are with those 5, that is going to determine how deep they can go.
Yeah. I like it. All right, let's take another break. On the other side, why don't we go a little around the association?
Oh, damn.
Talk about the rest of the playoffs here.
Those bums, dude. Those bums.
Oh, we're back.
Whoa.
Instead, let's go to the finale oop one more time. Brand new shirt that just dropped. We have a bunch of new shirts, man. Eric got in his bag.
Yeah. The beast got awakened.
The beast was awakened. Nice. You always pick a great font. You know that?
Well, listen, you can see
that reminds me of the finals.
Exactly.
Fonts.
That's the whole point.
I knew
it. It is NBA adjacent.
Yeah.
It doesn't exactly say the font, but it conjures images of the NBA, and then obviously
the oop part looks kind of like a clock.
That's wrong. Nope, that's just I just wanted to make that red. I just thought it'd be cool if it was red.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see that now.
And then there's a basket.
That number 32 kind of reminds me of AG too.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
Huh. Well, that's a mistake.
All right.
We'll fix that.
We'll fix that. You guys can pick that up. Use your ball door bonus. Let's go around the association, shall we?
Let's do it.
Round the association.
There's some good games on.
First things first. Let's get the elephant out of the room. Oklahoma City Thunder look pretty dominant. Or the Memphis Grizzlies look like they suck. Probably both things are a little bit true. But they are already 2 days off. They've been off already for 2 days. Yeah.
They played their starters so deep into the year because playing their starters didn't mean the same thing to them as everyone else because they're so effing deep.
Yeah.
And it's not playing them all 45 minutes. Like they haven't really... for a team they've been able to play hard every night because by playing hard every night and being deep, it's allowed them to cruise, and it's still happening in the playoffs.
Yes, I couldn't agree with this more. Like, to me, they have been able to just go wide and not that deep by just having a balanced attack, but they have not been challenged to the point where like those outer players start to falter, and you have to rely on the guys. And that's when you find that young teams fall apart, and they just have not been tested that way yet because they're just bludgeoning people. So, and their
because
credit,
they make the margin so thin, it's hard to put them on their heels.
Yeah,
because
that's what I mean.
they are.
I was going to say, but to their credit, like they earn the fact that they are bludgeoning everybody. It's just if you find yourself like I believe the Denver Nuggets can do, where you can match up against them and then, get them to a point where again their outer players, their lesser players, start to feel the playoff pressure. they're not as valuable anymore. Then it's like, all right, now let's really find out who the MVP is.
Yeah. All right. So that's the Thunder. They're going to be sitting there waiting. They're going to have like 14 days off before the start of the next series.
Do we know what the minimum time is you can have off between series? Like if Nuggets Clippers goes 7.
If it goes 7, I think it's 48 hours.
It's going to be just like 1 day off.
If it goes 7, I mean, honestly, you might chalk that up to an L. That might just be
game 1. Just rest Jokic.
Nothing like
take the L.
Nothing like a scheduled loss in the playoffs.
Scheduled loss game 1 of the second round.
My next favorite series to talk about out west is the Wolves and the Lakers. Man, the Wolves, man, they are so impressive. And Anthony Edwards is just absolutely, he kind of is though.
I
he
know.
kind of is because he's that saucy, and he is absolutely ripping the heart out of LeBron James and Luka Doncic.
That part's cool.
That part is
started
cool.
with the Wolves, which made me exasperated, but it is against the Lakers.
They look incredible. They're making the Lakers look really sad.
Old.
Well, one guy's old.
They have a 2-man team. One of them's old.
Dude, LeBron, I tweeted out because LeBron had this block shot with. I think we were all chatting about it, and I was like, "That is insane that he made that play." It was literally his last play.
That's all he had.
That was all he had. Then he sucked for 2 minutes. The next 2 minutes, and I was like, "Why did I just tweet right now?"
He
never tweet.
I gotta say,
Never
like he,
tweet.
I mean, he
It's my
like
roasted.
the defensive plays he was making beyond just that.
Those 2 straight that he had,
even though he committed the foul that ultimately cost him the game, and he missed the shot that cost him the game.
Yeah.
That's the difference between prime LeBron and this LeBron.
Yeah.
But it's still like, God damn, man.
Here's the thing. I want to tee you up for this one though. Vote. Nico Harrison did ruin Luka one way or another. Because we all knew these things about Luka. We always knew, like, all right, he's a little overweight, he's a little this, he's a little that, is he whatever. But I mean, it's still a crazy trade. But now you watch him getting outplayed by Anthony Edwards. You watch him like faltering and being dead tired down the stretch. You watch him get targeted every game. And I think everyone's kind of watching like, well, he is kind of overweight.
Here's the thing. Nico Harrison was only half wrong. But the half he was really, really, really wrong about.
He was really wrong.
He was wrong about what to do with the correct conclusion he had drawn.
Yes.
Right.
Which is that Luka Doncic has some growing up to do. He has some getting in shape to do. He has some ditching some losing habits to do. I've said this in the past, much like our guy number 15, there was like a year and a half tunnel of transformation and maturation for him, where I think he's stopped confusing the refs with the opposition. He was willing to change some of his diet and get in much better shape. And I think Luka needs to go through that a lot. It was actually a narrative in the finals when they lost. Kind of a big... Luka was amazing in that playoffs, but the last taste he left, for the Mavericks fans was, that's not what we wanted to see from you on the big stage. Now every little thing is just fodder here. Fuel for the fire of, was Nico right? And again, half right.
No, Nico, the conclusion should have been, I got to find the right pieces to put around him.
I got to get this guy in shape.
I'm actually going to push back on all this. I don't think Nico Harrison was right at all.
You don't think Luka Doncic is out of shape?
No, that he has a,
maybe he also made the finals last year.
I know, but
not a great Mavericks team.
Yeah, but then he looked out of shape.
I mean, he scored 30, 32, 27, 29, 28 points in the finals.
He was a loser in the finals.
Yeah,
man.
he was a loser.
He's a loser?
He's
Also
also the
remember
guy.
he got like think pieces written about him by like,
I mean, yeah, that's what happens in the finals. When
but he specifically fell apart where you're like, bro.
Lucas,
I mean, he did make the finals at, how old was he?
Well, I don't think you should trade him.
This
Again,
is what I'm saying. What we're saying is,
maybe the Lakers could have a better team. I don't know. Maybe they could have a bench and they don't have to play their 5
Well,
guys
that's-
the entire second
there
half.
are 25 players in the NBA who can be the best team or the best player on a championship team if the team is perfect for them. The question is, what's the margin of error? And for Luka, he's so talented that it should be a little smaller. Probably not this Lakers team. I mean, this Lakers team is pretty
This Lakers
flawed.
team is very flawed.
They don't
But it
have,
was
well,
never-
here's the big thing. They don't have
They
a rim
don't
rolling
have a
5.
center.
They don't
Yeah.
have a rim rolling 5. And what you
They
find
don't
out
have
is
a
Luka
bench. They
can't
don't
beat
have much
anyone off the
shooting.
dribble in ISO like that. Like, at least for 4 quarters, he needs somebody to put pressure on the paint, and he can't get around these guys.
the idea is that like not like no, of course you should not have traded Luka.
Like, is he a
does-
little out of shape? Yeah.
But
Can he also make the finals
My
right
point-
now?
my
Yeah.
point
but
was,
he's a
though,
deeply flawed player.
My point was that Nico
He's
ruined
not a
him.
deeply flawed player.
Yeah, he is.
I think
No, he is a deeply flawed player.
yes. Yeah, I don't think
Luka
that
Doncic.
in his current state, I don't
Deeply
think
flawed.
Yes, I think he has a fatal flaw. I don't think you can get to the mountaintop with him until you either build the team perfectly around him.
Well, you're actually demonstrating the point, whether you're right or wrong. It's that Nico put this out into the universe in such a loud way that now, until he wins, it's going to be like, maybe he's right. Maybe he's right.
Because, by the way, to be clear, you don't trade him.
Yeah, you don't trade him.
But I do.
You don't trade him.
And by the way, I overstated it when you're right. Loser strong. But there were specific things that were like short of championship mentality that I do think are fair criticisms of Luka. But I would not have traded him for Anthony Davis.
It's like what Adam said. It's like at a certain point he became the weakest link, and they just went through him exclusively and won.
And him slipping on Jaden McDaniel's foot and trying to draw the foul on that one, to me, I'm like, dude, it's 40 seconds left. He did that. That's the thing where it's like, if it's game on the line, are you trying an egregious flop to get a call? Or are you just like, you know what, I'm not leaving it in their hands?
I can kind of see Yoke doing that.
I mean, Yoke has, by the way. Yoke has done it. It's been really frustrating.
You definitely should not do that,
It's like, game's on the line, man. Just play straight up now. Don't put it in the ref's hands. And then Rockets-Warriors has been interesting. The Warriors, to me, are like the Nuggets. They don't die. They won an improbable game. The Rockets are their own flawed team, but the Warriors are just like really good at finding an ugly way to win.
They're gritty.
Yeah. I still feel like the Warriors are going to win this series.
I think so too. The Celtics are banged up. You look at this, you coming into it, you're like Cavs, Celtics, Thunder. These teams can't be beat. I'm watching the Celtics right now, and I'm like, they're really freaking good. Probably the best team in the league. But man, they already have a lot of injuries. Jaylen Brown is on one leg. Yeah. Tatum's already missed some games.
Don't you feel like they're kind of just like taking it a little easy because it's the Magic?
I mean, of course. But I'm saying there's still injuries, though. These are like a wrist injury on your shooting hand for Tatum. Sure. That's big. Brown is already limping in the end of games. Yeah. And they're the same as Denver. They got a lot of rounds left.
Yeah.
Don't ask me anything about the Celtics yet.
Okay. Save it. Yeah. I think the Cavs kind of look a little...
I'm not gonna lie. I've watched 0 minutes of that Cavs series.
Nobody?
Cavs Heat.
The Heat are so bad. They had 2 close games.
I don't know how.
I mean, they're up 3-0, right?
They also
they are up 3-0.
Are they playing to the level of their competition a little bit?
The Heat are so bad.
That's hard to do, to be honest, with where the Heat are. They're pretty bad.
The Heat this year were 8 games under 500, dude. They're 37.
So what you're telling me is that they're going to make the finals. Is what you're telling me.
And then I have the Knicks and the Pacers, to me, who both look pretty good, but I just it's hard for me to tell. I love the Pistons. That's my
Pistons are.
They're going to be my team next year.
Pistons are fun for sure.
Game talk?
Oh yeah, Damian Lillard. Sorry. You're right. That I didn't for some reason didn't write it down. Nobody was into this in the chat last night when I threw this out there. What a major thing.
I was making a shirt. Sorry,
I was working on something.
Lillard tore his Achilles last night in the playoffs. He will almost certainly now miss all of next year. He'll be 35 or 36 by the time he returns, and he's owed $60 million a year over the next 2 years. Giannis is gone. There's no way he comes back to Milwaukee, right?
I think
they have to pull a rabbit out of their hat.
I mean, there's no rabbit to be pulled.
I think they don't own any of their pictures.
By the way, they extended.
I'm sure nobody saw the rabbit coming.
Yeah.
They extended the GM
was pulled out of a hat
because you clean this up. By the way, you're responsible for the teardown. By the way, you have to do this. No one's going to want this job.
Yeah, you're right.
So you're sticking around, and you have to trade Giannis. Good luck with that, because no one else wants to come here and do that.
Nobody else wants to be the guy that. I'd come in.
I think Giannis has actually really tried to be a Milwaukee Buck for life, and I personally would not blame him at all if this is it.
Yeah, nobody would.
Ironically, he's in the Dame Lillard position.
I know.
I'm kind of joking when I say this, but also kind of not. The Nuggets have a GM opening right now. Let's just hire Giannis' agent.
Yeah,
as the Nuggets GM.
That's honestly maybe smart,
and just get him to Denver. Just make that happen. Force that trade. Because that's the only way he can come here if he says, I'm only going to Denver. The Nuggets don't have a package that can beat the other offers.
I don't think Denver's anywhere in this running, by the way.
They're not, unless they just hire his agent.
But he is going to be, he is just going to get traded this summer, and it's going to be a huge
to the Lakers
gravity shifting. I think it might be. I was sitting
I know it's going to be to the Lakers.
LeBron third team.
I know.
It's going to be something like this.
Pick and don't connect.
Oh my God!
How Rob Pelinka do it again?
I can't even allow my brain to go to Giannis leaving Milwaukee. I hope he does not. He probably will, but like to me, it's just this is coveting your neighbor's wife. You know?
Yeah, but whether you
The
covet
basketball gods just cannot be. We're just like we're like because I don't want
biblical terms.
I don't want someone. I don't want
Yeah, like that's a saying.
Yeah.
Well,
It's a commandment.
I'll show you a book you're maybe not acquainted with after.
I'm not familiar.
Wynn's not as familiar.
That's one of my favorite movies ever.
But the point being is that I can't imagine people coveting
never read
Jokic in
Torah.
this way. It makes me so uncomfortable.
I mean, 100%.
I can
But at
only
the same
root for the
time, there's
small
nothing
market.
you can do about a team that is out of draft picks and will be paying 2 max salaries worth of salary because he's
I
making
know.
$60 million.
No,
on this.
they're destroyed.
They're destroyed. And
Destroyed.
it's sad, man.
So are the
Freaking
Mavericks.
insane. There's this new CBA. Adam Silver is hilarious because there's like 9 teams that I'm like, they'll never financially recover from this.
I know.
There's so many teams that I'm like, there's
Look,
no way out.
I even the teams that are thriving, I think there's a non-zero chance the Celtics win another championship and that roster does not
it has to
does
blow up,
not
yeah.
come back. And that's something I'd keep an eye on actually.
Somebody told me OKC's plan, and it makes not somebody told me. Nate Jones, who's a really good basketball analyst on Twitter, he was talking about, and it makes sense. He's like, everybody expects OKC to cash in all their picks to bolster their roster. The only way they can keep their core together is to sign
Just
their
keep
3
on
guys
picking, yeah.
and just keep bringing in new. And guess what? They're somehow great at it.
Kind of what the Nuggets tried to do.
Yeah, it's what the Nuggets tried to
It's true.
do, but
That's
they
saying
actually have done it.
They did it wrong, but it's what they were doing.
Well,
They're
Denver tried to do it with the
ever.
29th
Their plan
picks,
is Project
the 34th.
Dynasty, right?
Well, I mean, OKC's got a lot of second rounders and late
but
first.
yeah, but they also have a bunch of like high and mid first somehow, and that's the difference. All right, Kale,
Because
let's get to
they
our
had
super
to get rid
chats.
of Paul George. I'm sure that hurt them so badly.
Oh my god.
Okay, Poi Pigview. Russ was so great at supporting the team in street clothes. Hope we see a bit more of the same for the next few games. Nuggets and 6.
That feels backhanded.
And I think you can. It was so backhanded. I didn't even realize it until you guys laughed.
Yeah.
28 Canadian bucks from Gordon.
Let's go. Our
Never
guy
say
Gordon.
die.
Never say die.
Who
That's
said
our
die?
Nugs.
We didn't say
Gordon,
die.
nice to hear from you, Gordon.
Unless
yeah.
somebody asks you, how many is 1 dice?
But that's DIE. Oh, that's Save. You're right. DYE.
Tom Stewart, 5280 jersey tomorrow. That's a good sign.
hell
yeah.
Fact check.
I mean, not
Is
to,
it? I don't know.
just to be clear,
We are good in
Yeah.
the 52.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
statistically,
just to be
like
clear,
80% win percentage.
it's not good to look at, but
Yeah.
it is going to be good for the outcome.
all I
I mean,
care.
it may be Tom Stewart is the guy, but we know that
No,
someone
it's Flacco.
is-
Flacco's the guy.
Yeah, also
someone
it's New
Flacco's the
Zealand.
yeah, come on.
All right, sorry. Anyway, we know statistically it's a good sign. The boys' dad, any skinny, nope, on a possible, probable game time for game 7
No.
on Saturday.
No,
don't
I
know.
saw the potential times for game 6, not for game 7.
Oh man, I'm rooting for the one that's not technically, so late.
There's like 3 options that are 10 p.m. and then a 9
come on, please don't make us do that. Because we have a minute and a half to kill, can we go to scale of confidence here, Kale?
p.m. Let's do it.
Let's go a little scale of confidence just to find out where everybody's at. And guys, play along with us in the chat. We want to know where everybody is at. Out of control, all the way down to understandably low. Vote, start us off.
I am appropriately measured. If we go, is this playoffs or round 1?
Round 1.
Heating up.
Oh,
My guy.
I don't look. We just talked about how every game is its own thing and the carryover, and I think there's a lot to that. The more series I cover, I do wonder though if that was a really, really important moment for Denver with some of the stuff I reported on of, like the tensions were high, man.
yeah.
Those were some honest, tough conversations that they've had with each other this week. If there was a time to break and fold, it was game 4. They almost did, but they didn't.
Yeah.
Is it enough? Is it enough? And I'm going to say that I'm heating up.
Heating up. D-line?
Oh, you know I'm heating up. You know I'm
You're
heating
not
up.
higher than heating up?
Well, let me see
You're
the
not
scale
out of
again.
control?
Let me see the scale again. I can't. Dude, no, I like to live at Dev's level. Whatever Dev's doing, that's what I'm doing. I'm heating up. You know, I mean, you can't be. I mean, I can't go over the moon, but I feel good, man. I have seen a path. I'm not 100% sure that the Nuggets will complete that path, but I at least see it, and it follows along kind of what I thought was going to happen. So, you know, like it's like so far, it's like going exactly as I like scripted here. So I think they're gonna win this next game. I think they're gonna lose the next game, and I think they're gonna win the last game at home. And I just feel good about, again, like if we're locked into a thinking man series, and I have Nikola Jokic on my team,
you'll do it. Wind, you only have 30 seconds.
I'm heating up. I'm more confident than I thought I'd be, today, even after, the Nuggets tied things up the other night. Not because they have home court. Home court doesn't matter to the Nuggets. I think we know that by now.
Fair.
But just with how the series is trending, I'm heating up.
Outro music, Kale. All right, that does it for us. I'll tell you, I'm appropriately measured. I'm right in the middle. I don't feel positive or negative about it. I just think that the series is going to come down to the wire. Everybody, thanks for watching our show. Hit the like button for us on the way out. We will see you tomorrow. Come to the bar, by the way. If you're not going to the game, come to the bar. It's going to be incredible.
This is our bonus. Visit our sponsors.
We all silly like the mayor.